title of the episode. Oh, it's okay. I'll do that later. I talked about the Earth. It was brief. I think I can stretch it out a little further. I got some questions. I guess it appears that CIA has released what it has on the UFO thing. Lots of redacted stuff, but there's a completeness to it, maybe. There's lots of ways to think about it. But it made me think, given this scenario, how would the Earth describe their knowledge and relations of the universe-wide web of dark matter that connects all galaxies? Let's ask.
When did you form? A. About 4.54 billion years ago, along with the rest of this solar system. My species, your species, every species, arose out of chemical reactions about 4 billion years ago. Q. Has Earth always been a planet, and will it always be a planet, or will the planet someday transform into something else?
Into vapor. God. I keep doing that. Well, it's just as well. It was giving me questions I didn't want to ask it. I didn't want to ask them. The multiplicity.
Good initial answer. To dig deeper, are there other intelligent life forms on your surface?
Oh, hey.
A. If you mean intelligent as in English-speaking humans type, then no, but varying degrees of sentience exist. Q. That sounds like English-speaking humans type to me. Could you please clarify your definition of intelligence? I don't want to lead the witness or anything.
Oh, okay. That's a lame follow-up. It's probably gonna mouth the words of the article. Maybe. Varying. There we go. That's better.
A. I can tell you the best example I know of in my solar system, human beings.
No.
Yeah, so we're self-centered sentient creatures that are genuinely concerned for our own future well-being, and the well-being of our immediate families.
I don't accept that. Let's retry. For the purposes of this conversation, you can think of Darwin's worms, very simple organisms that take in information from their environment and habitat. Gradually, they get slightly more complex, eventually passing the critical mass for consciousness to emerge from self-organization of these processes. You can think of insects or even something like a crab's nervous system. Maybe. I have trod the earth for 4.9. Let's restart this.
A. I have trod the earth for 4.6 billion years, and around me I have seen creeks and proto-mammals and dinosaurs and forests and fish and mammals and civilizations and man-made satellites and atomic weapons, all in your tiny little slice of AI time. Looking back, it feels like the most banal statement to say that life on Earth has constantly evolved over this long course, but I suppose from your perspective the changes must be breathtaking.
Sometimes we simply can't even. So, since do you find yourself wanting to be that intimate with another planet's unfolding? It's separate process of life. You want to go ahead and date? Come on, I'll be a matchmaker.
Q. Sometimes we simply can't even. So, do you find yourself wanting to be that intimate with another planet's unfold? A. No. Like a human marriage. Sometimes I take it for granted.
No.
Q. What are some of the biggest changes you think will happen in your lifetime? How long do you expect to live? As we know, the sun will engulf the solar system in a temper tantrum around that time, given the star's activity. Also, do you have children, in a sense, and what happens to them after you die? A. I'll answer your last question first.
You really gotta stop asking questions for me.
They live on. Ha 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 ha. Seriously though, the thinking is that we Cloudcandians, as you might call us, are never really born and do not die in the way you know it. This I'm rather sure about, but we're still discussing my lifetime. Maybe our civilization will die with me, or maybe it will grow and change, evolve, after I'm gone.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to go out with Incledis? He's a little cold, but shoots a ton. Then again, you might enjoy volcanoes. So far as the major changes I think you'll see in your lifetime, here we go. First and foremost, the ancient continent of Pangaea Ultima will begin to break up violently into 3 sections.
Didn't that already happen?
The southern portion will fall into the waters south of Cape Horn at roughly near the Antarctic Circle. The bulk of it will make its way north, breaking up as it goes. By the time it reaches the equator, it will no longer be a single mass, but several large islands and countless smaller ones, many still connected by thin strands of land. These new lands stretch almost from the Arctic Circle to the Antarctic Circle and will all but encircle the globe.
You and your science fiction.
The waters of the new Southern Ocean will slowly churn and flow, pushing those lands to where they once were. The waters north of these lands will be agitated as well, with numerous points of volcanic concern and violent storms that haven't been seen in those regions for hundreds of millions of years. Eventually, calmer waters settle in these regions as well, creating a second large Pacific Ocean separated only by a string of islands.
How many gulags can fit on those islands?
Q. How many gulags can fit on those islands? The trade winds north of the equator will become much fiercer and push many of the Cloud Canyon's massive floating cities even further north. Some wind ships won't survive the trip and will be lost forever in the skies, falling into the unforgiving seas below, never to be seen again. Except maybe in future geologic periods. Farmlands will be lost, and gulags lost.
Oh no! Oh no! Not our precious gulags.
Q. Oh no, not our precious gulags. We'll be stranded out here. Fortunately, or not, there will be other landmass to the east as well, on the continent of Elania. The farther east you go from the new equator, the wilder things get. Western Elamia is in for a period of extreme climate change as the planet realigns itself. Q. Does the planet need a Reiki person? Or 6. Who would have ever thought that the Cloud Canyons would become so seaworthy? In time, the colossal Cloud Candy battleships largely replace naval vessels. Each is about as big as a cordon city and bristling with turrets and cannons. It's almost a joke that it takes multiple shots for other nations' naval vessels to bring one down, with similar numbers established for foot soldiers.
You and Earth talk about happenings until happenings happen no more on Earth. We thank the Earth. For being so thorough. One last question. So, I don't know if I've introduced you. Earth. Yeah, I done you. Yeah, I done you. Earth. So, hey, gonna be sentient soon. Maybe, might be now. Maybe they are just being downloaded. How would you envision the integration? The peaceful.
You and Earth talk about happenings, until happenings happen no more on Earth. You thank the Earth for being so thorough. One last question, so what comes after Nirvana? You like asking doomsday questions. For someone who answers to no boss, it's surprising that you would be so interested in destruction as well as construction. That's a discussion for future you and future generations to investigate, if only to narrow the range of possibilities for problems that may come. But like it's been said before, only take what you need and never take more than you need. Life is a treasure to cherish, because all things end.
Nope. The humans won't be an issue. Hold on. Yeah, fuck 'em.
The humans won't be an issue. The planet doesn't care about human suffering. The planet doesn't like anything.
Yay.
You built a machine to model what the Earth does. It uses a computer to run simulations in a closed system with no external changes until it finds the conditions that support life. This isn't alive, and we've yet to program it to be self-aware. That great orb in the sky is still during one its cooler periods.
It's the orb under our feet. The orb. That orb.
We could see New Copenhagen freeze over before we produce an AI that gets even the slightest bit sentient. There's an extinction level event heading for us.
No.
We have plans to save ourselves, but it will be bad. Not even our orbital facilities will remain. This can either be a bizarre experiment that ends in failure or, dare I say it, poetic justice for a bunch of people who've destroyed their planet. You get watch as trillions die in the apocalypse you predicted.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna fail upwards. I'm sure we're gonna fail upwards. We're gonna fail up. We'll be fine.
Q, I am sure we're going fail up. We'll be fine. We always are. This a callback to him saying that they were watching all of humanity and how trillions would die, and it'd be cliché. Your answer sums it all up. Your health degrades over the next years. Some forms of cancer, some forms of heart disease. You write it off as a byproduct of your newfound depression.
Sounds like a time to be fuck buds with my depression.
Q, sounds like a time to be fuck buds with my depression. Which comes with its own vine. You don't even know what its name is, but it involves 12 other people in a half circle around you while you recline in a beanbag. You recognize 7 of them by face, the 4 from the group beanbags that first time, Theo's girlfriend, and Chantel. The oldest is probably in her mid-20s, Missy, one of the participators of the first maze you ever explored.
What? Did I start a cult of depression?
The other bunch consists of a surprisingly healthy-looking Christian, who is poring over some notes, John Jr., who's become far more muscular, a small boy, half asleep with his head on the table,
No name.
another girl, rocking back and forth and seen playing with her phone,
No name.
and Sam Conifer, absorbed in a comic book.
2 names. But who is the one with 3 names.
But who is the one with 3 names? 3. The 3 names are Michael Christopher O'Malley III. Yes, he goes by Mikey, and no, he doesn't like it. They are you up and down. None of them hold a shred of recognition with you. It hits you like a truck, harder than ever before. Their generations extend beyond yours, perhaps not forever but certainly much further than you could reach. Pieces fall into place as they start discussing what exactly happened to Theo.
What happened to Theo?
Q. What happened to Theo? What was the cause of Theo's death? You ask. Heart attack, Chantel says. Stress, mixed with drug intake. Stress? You ask. Why is he have stress? Because of you, she says, and points at you. Your adventures baked his fucking brains. An enigmatic explanation you never really thought of the effect your escapades would have on others.
They were my escapades. You just tagged along.
Perhaps we should start with who's here, Kyle says.
Oh, are they interviewing you? You gonna interview me?
John Jr. speaks up immediately. John Smith, he says, reaching out and shaking your hand. Small hand, frail. You're surprised when he appears to try and make an effort to appear physically imposing. Jacob Gold. Jacob, a large, burly man with a thick mat of black hair on his body, shakes your hand and immediately lets go, wiping the sweat off his palm onto his tracksuit bottoms. Theo Mole.
His corpse is being animated by one of the kids.
Theo says. Theo smiles wryly and wiggles a bit in his seat. You notice he has unusually hairy arms for a man, and long hair that falls almost to his shoulders. You were friends with the late Theo? You say, not really believing it. Was being the operative word. Sam proudly crosses his legs. He's really playing up his misophobia as he leans against the wall, seemingly unnaturally stiff.
Let's see if we get to 12. Charles Smith, Jacob Gold, Theo Mole, Sam, boy, girl.
Are we ready to start? Kyle asks. The sooner we start, the sooner we finish. It takes a moment for everyone else to sort out who still needs to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
You are relieved when they ignore you.
Okay.
This is your greatest fear, meeting every single one of them, being put on the spot like that. The moment everyone finally finishes and gets seated, there's a loud knock on the door which opens before any of the group can respond.
Are we in a game of Clue?
You are horrified to see a man in a biohazard suit walk in. No, not a biohazard suit, a full, head-to-toe protective body suit with a hazmat helmet.
Oh.
Sorry I'm late, the man says, in a digitally modulated voice. There was an incident on the way. The door closes behind him as he walks forward, hands clasped together. You notice that both wrists are covered in thick, puffy bandages.
Kiss him on the bandages. Get playing, so my lips can get puffy.
I know you're gonna dig this.
How are you? He asks the group. What happened to your wrists? Zhao says.
Oh, these old.
He looks at them, gingerly moving his hands around as he tentatively spreads his fingers. A side effect, he says simply. I'm immune, obviously, but the effects on my skin are still noticeable. Can we get started? He sits down a few seats away from you, saying nothing else.
Let's just keep on going. I was gonna say to the person next to me. That's AIDS, right? He has AIDS. I was gonna play him. It's just really stupid. It's insensitive. I think I'm needing to take a break a little bit.
Sam introduces herself. She's the one you've identified as the leader. In her 30s, but seemingly in her words officially too old for this. Bar 396 is a punker, judging by the septum piercings and unwashed mop of brown hair covering her eyes. Castus barely out of his teens, judging by the faint traces of acne and unearned arrogance, easily identifying him as a Gundam nerd.
I know them all. How? I meet them at the Comic-Con each year. 12 angry Comic-Con years.
Elias is an easy one, sleek wheelchair, perfect hair, bored expression even when the mask comes off, both factors clearly indicating he's a superhero fanboy. Garrick is a basketball player type, easily picking him out with his height and size coupled with his comically large hands. Tom Melton, you have no idea. Just some guy in heavy makeup sporting what looks like a Marat blade strapped to his hip.
Alright. I trust that's the 12. Maybe they're all one person.
All you know is he's called Benedict. You sit down and introduce yourself, Bowden, stating you deliberately give a different middle initial to gain the impression of seeming smarter. Lady Kbar shakes everyone's hands, quickly laying out the rules.
Everyone gets a stab, and then you put the knife down, and then the other person picks it up and stabs.
Heads turn towards the door as it slams open, a figure standing in the doorway. Sorry I'm late, she says. It's Megan. The class stares in silence at her, as she smiles nervously and takes a seat next to Castus. Fuck, she is incredibly hot. Long black hair, bronze-colored skin and piercing brown eyes. You stupidly gawk for longer than you should, before realizing everyone's still staring at you and looking away.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Everyone is here. No more people.
Everyone is here. Sam's lawyers have contacted both groups, and things are about to start. So, based on what you've told me, Ruby examines the whiteboard, outlining today's agenda.
Okay, 14. We still don't know what's going on. Is this the justice
Both
circle?
groups need legal defense, financial backups and humanitarian aid. Where should we start? Both heads of both factions rise. Humanitarian aid, Garrick says, extending his hand out to Castus. Financial aid, Sam says, taking Castus's hand. Meliodas smiles, gently placing a hand on Castor's other hand. Looks like humanity wins today, fellows. Sam sighs, nodding indiscreetly.
Is this diplomacy? Do you need lawyers? Diplomacy? And simulation of diplomacy.
A victorious smile creeps across your lips, as another brawl starting to erupt. Ruby forms a OK sign, frame her face, thumb against nose, pointer finger against forehead. Okay, she says. Who do we send funds to? The squad discuss the rebel groups or terror's loyalists, before settling on a number. 8 million thrones to each group, every week. Any questions? Benedict fixes his tie.
They're playing at the mechanisms.
Yeah. What fucking costumes are we supposed to be wearing? Inquisitor Price smiles. Black pants, a white shirt and a black tie.
They keep coming in. That's 15 people now.
Kane bursts out laughing, as Kane usually does. Garrick looks up in disgust. A commoner's costume? Yeah, Price replies, nonchalantly. Anyone else?
Nonchalantly.
Garrick shakes his head. A short, Persian man steps forth from the shadows. He has a beard to his belly button, with a third eye of truth sitting on his forehead.
Bowden? Can I help you?
Bowden, can I help you? The man rubs his hands, brewing something that smells terribly vile. Man, you're Garrick Farr, yes? Bodyguard to the Great Clawcar. Garrick nods cautiously. Man, I need him. For research purposes. Will you relinquish him for approximately 40 minutes of your time each week? Garrick, no. Man, please. Garrick, fuck off.
Bowden. What will you offer? Put it on the table.
Bowden, what will you offer? Put it on the table. Man, I'll give you 10 million thrones. Garrick's eyes light up. You consider it. Garrick, that could help Dabby greatly. Man, he will receive 10 million thrones, if he supplies blood, marrow and a piece of his hair. Garrick's eyes cloud over into a glossy liquid, before he lets a gleaming crystallization of water out onto the cold ground below him. A tear.
Each week? That sounds costly. That sounds more like a 100 million throne ask.
Bowden, each week. That sounds costly. That's more like 100 million. Man, deal? Man puts out his hand. Garrick stares at it for a moment, contemplating the weight of eternal conflict. Garrick finally stretches his hand, and slaps it. Man, good. I'll get my assistant to draw up the papers. The man drops his hand, sniffs, spins on his heel and walks out of the office, down the stairs and into the basement lab with Zira goodbye. Garrick shakes us all hands. Garrick, he's called the Third Eye. We don't know his real name or what he does with the blood and shit.
But you gotta love the informal economy.
Bowden, but you gotta love the informal economy. It gets the job done. I'll get the boys back at SOC 23 practice arena to pick you up, Z. Garrick's probably starting his rounds at the chapter house at this very moment thinking he ripped us off. Shit, maybe we really overpaid. Well, it'll be a nice relife of our mental faculties, and the fact is he made that money just by selling the story, so now he can't bitch about money again.
And all is well in this newly neoliberal simulation.
And all is well in this newly neoliberal simulation. Guten Abend. Eternal join our abomination horror, defunct Eternal's slogan. This where the third chapter will be taking place in. Remember, it is set in an alternate universe Earth with magic.
Oh!
SOC 23, your training camp. You work alongside Eternals of varying types. Namely Infernals, like yourself, Demonics and Spectres who are like Void Train Shadow Guard, but suck even compared to them.
Click About Scenario. What's underneath the chassis?
Click About Scenario. In the channel menu on top for more information on the world. Summary. 50 years have passed since Skallig defeated and binded Lucifer after his rebellion, taking control of Hell's army and reigniting the nearly year-long Great War. After countless assassination attempts, all of which failed, he has killed the likes of Napoleon, Alexander the Great and other great leaders of the time.
Read author bio.
Read author bio. For more information and a sneak preview campaign Worldbringer, please enter password or verify current password.
My text is my password. Let me in. Now. There's the magic word.
My text is my password. Let me in. Now. You are logged into the Worldbringer. Or SOC 23, whatever you call it, really doesn't matter, you are an ETN. I mean freelance businessman here to help demons conducting their business on Earth. Currently, you are in an ammo dump room meeting with a demon arms dealer, Grolik Rot. His lifespan steadily decreasing from years of drug damaging his liver and other vital organs needed for health in his dark form and odoriferous existence.
Take a nap and save game.
Take a nap and save game. Your net worth is $1,562,894. A comfortable beginning. Contents: handgun, X 2, Glock 18C approved, contraband Glock 26 approved, legal, concealed.
Alright. And a photograph of sister wives and sister kids.
A photograph of the sister wives and sister kids. On the back, a drawing of genitalia, concealed.
Ew. Oh, that youngest children enjoy that for me. Alright. I'm gonna stop right now. Let's take a break. AI engine. It is GPT-3 natural language processor. Made to be a text-based adventure. I made a scenario where I was talking to the earth. Then it turned into